Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Primetime Local News. Connor Chan, Elise Darwish, as always, bringing you all the stuff that's coming up on tonight's show, including our question of the day. What language would you like to learn how to speak?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think any language is cool to learn that, but so you just don't have just English. But I don't know. For me personally, I think my mom was German and that was her first language, so she never passed that on to me, and I wish I had that. So you know.
I'd kind of like to learn Russian.
Russian.
That alphabet is really just all over the map.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Russian and Greek has a totally different alphabet. So crazy.
It's hard. I've tried. It hasn't been successful, but we'll have all this more coming up later on the show. But right now, let's sit over to Brett Holden, who's on location.
Well, today we are going to be all over the town, and right now, currently, we are at Big Brothers Big Sisters as we get ready for Poutine Week, as Poutine Week gets started from today and goes until the 18th. You can vote on your favorite poutine by posting a photo of the poutine that you ordered from the participating locations, and we'll have a little more on the locations in a little bit, and by using the hashtag PoutineWeekYLL, we'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Big Brothers Big Sisters, but for now, let's head back into the studio.
Great, thank you, Brad. A 16-year-old is in custody after the RCMP received a tip about possible explosives. On April 2nd, the Lloydminster RCMP responded to the call involving explosives.
RCMP received a tip of potential for some explosive-making materials inside of a storage unit in a commercial area on the north side of town. Acting on that tip, we investigated, contacted our explosive disposal unit. They came, they secured some of the materials, and we do have a suspect in custody.
Since the suspect is underage, the youth's name cannot be released, but the RCMP want to ensure everyone that there is no public threat.
Just a one-off. This is not connected to anything else. There's no other concerns for public safety at this time.
The investigation is still ongoing, so more information will be released. And Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services has received an entertainment package to complete their teen space. The teen space will be used to help give teens a sense of security and allow them to open up about their experiences.
Something that can just give somebody a break from what's going on outside these walls, what's going on at home, and create that space for them to feel good, to feel safe, to feel, okay, I can talk about this. This is a place where it is okay to talk about whatever they're going through.
Coldwell Banker Cityside Realty, who donated the entertainment center, said they felt that the LSAS needed more support.
So we were just really impassioned by the story. And again, we were very well aware that sexual assault can affect certainly both genders and all ages. But when we were looking for an organization to partner with, because there are many things that we're going to be working with the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Center with in the future, just having that community partnership that we felt from their story.
LSAS, in partnership with Cityside Realty, will be holding a clothing drive in May. And the city is looking for some feedback on how they can communicate better with Lloydminster residents. They launched their Let's Chat survey. The survey lets people tell the city what information they want to hear more about.
The city of Lloydminster puts out an incredible amount of information on a weekly basis. It could be anything from where road work is happening today to the release of a new recreation guide, an event like Canada Day or Winterfest that's coming up. There's a tremendous amount of stuff that we're trying to communicate to residents on a daily basis, and we want to reach out to them to find out how they want to receive that information.
This survey is a more official way of knowing how residents want to be communicated with.
We're always doing a little exercise or having conversations with residents, reaching out on social media and that sort of thing to find out anecdotally how do they want to receive their information, but I think this is going to give us a really defined idea of how people are receiving information these days and the most effective way to get it in front of them.
Go to lloydminster.ca/let's chat to take part in the survey. And we continue our candidate profiles for the Alberta election. Our Stacey Comer sits down with NDP candidate for the Vermilion Lloydminster Wainwright constituency, Ryan Clark.
We are pleased to be joined today by Ryan Clark. Ryan is the NDP candidate for the Vermilion Lloydminster Wainwright constituency in the upcoming election. Ryan, first of all, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to know, first of all, why did you choose the NDP as the party that you wanted to run for?
Well, I guess on a personal level, it's the party that reflects my own values the closest. And I honestly think that when you really get talking to just average Albertans, people in the area, but what do they value and what do they care about? I think that the NDP is actually a lot closer to their values than they realize. And there's often this perception that, we're this conservative province, people have conservative values. I think if you look at what the NDP has actually fought for over the past 4 years, I think they have done a lot of good work, and I think that they do have values that are in line with what we care about in Alberta.
So let's talk about the platform, whether it's their views or the way that you perceive their views to be, and what are some of the things that stick out to you as the most important issues on their platform?
I think I should say first of all that at this moment, the full platform has not been released yet, but based on the general main things coming out, I would say the economy, so in terms of oil and gas, also diversifying the economy, so whether that is refining and upgrading, getting more value for resources, petrochemicals, trying to create more products here in Alberta. That's definitely some of the most important ones. I think the other thing too is protection and funding for frontline services, social programs, whether that be healthcare, education, because of course Jason Kenney and the UCP has talked a lot about not funding those programs to the same extent the NDP are, and I think that will have ripple effects throughout the economy if we decide to go in that direction.
So what are you going to be doing leading up to the election? Are you the traditional knocking on the doors and going to events? Are you doing a lot on social media? Is it a mix of things? How do you see that happening?
It is a mix of things. I'll be honest, it's a little bit hard to get out as much as I want to, just because I am still working full time. I'm a teacher at the high school in Elk Point, so it's a little bit hard to get out there as much as I want to. But I am planning on doing some door knocking. I have some leaflets in order right now, so I'm hoping to, especially here in Lloyd, get out and knock on some doors. I'm on Facebook, so if anybody's interested in following that, it's just if you go to the Alberta NDP website and go to the candidates section, there's a link there to my Facebook, and you can follow the campaign and what things I'm talking about. So that's probably the best way to follow for anybody that's interested.
Why was it important for you to get involved? I mean, there's one thing for people to actually just go out and vote, but it's a whole, different thing if you're actually going to run for the party. I mean, that's a big commitment. What made you decide that you actually wanted to get into the mix of everything? Yeah,
it's a great question. I think for myself, I've always been interested in politics, and I'm really interested, how can governments try to help the lives of everyday people? So it's sort of been an ambition of mine I wanted to do at some point. I think this time around, I just felt it was a bit more pressing, giving, I think more than previous elections in our history, it's going to be a real kind of pivotal turning point, what direction we go in. And also, I expressed some interest to the NDP a few months ago that I wanted to run, and they gave me a call a few weeks ago saying, would you like to run Lloydminster Wainwright, or Vermilion Lloydminster Wainwright, bit of a tongue twister. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to, and so that's how I got here.
Okay, great. Well, we thank you for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck in the election, and one more time, if people want to reach you, best way to do that.
If you go to the Alberta NDP website, there's an email for me there. I check that every day. There's also a link to my Facebook page. That's probably the two best ways to get a hold of me.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it. Good luck in the election.
Thank you.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
Well, we're back here at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Lisa Shinderich joins us now here talking about Poutine Week. And I can imagine this is kind of a huge setup for just 1 week. What's the setup been like?
Oh, it's been amazing. We've had such positive response from the community and the partnering restaurants that are involved with Poutine Week.
So what can people expect from Poutine Week this year?
A lot of fun, a lot of good eats, guilt-free poutine because it's going to a great cause. And we're running for 8 days, starting today until April the 18th. And $3 from every signature poutine sold comes back directly to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lloydminster.
And each one kind of has a unique kind of twist to it. Let's talk about, not necessarily every single one, because we are kind of running out of time, but let's talk about your favorite ones and the ones you've been able to taste as well so far.
I'm telling you guys are going to have a really tough time with the People's Choice Award this year because they are all fabulous.
So you mentioned the People Choice Award, and there's also kind of more awards kind of to this. Again, we are running a little bit out of time, but let's talk to that a little bit as well.
So the restaurant that sells the most amount of poutines will be awarded the Gravy Bowl Championship. And there's also a People's Choice Award, which is completely voted online. Upload a photo of yourself, tag us on our social media with hashtag PoutineWeekYLL and the restaurant you're at, and that's your vote.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. We'll have a little bit more coming up from Teen Week and around the town here. But for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Take a look at your current temperature right now. 7 degrees right now for us here in Lloydminster. Mostly cloudy and a bit of sunshine there. Some winds, though. We had some pretty heavy winds earlier in the day today, as now we're reaching closer to 30 kilometers an hour. Some records for this time of year: 17 degrees was our warmest day back in 2015, and minus 16 was our coldest day back in 1992. As we take a look at the satellite radar map, mostly some cloud coverage for the Edmonton and Vegreville and Lakeland region here, which we are going to see some cloud coverage over the next couple of days, as we are going to experience maybe some rain over the weekend, as we'll showcase later on in our 7-day forecast. 7 degrees also out in Edmonton right now, 3 degrees out in Edson and Whitecourt, 5 degrees for Rocky Mountain House, 7 degrees out in Jasper, 8 degrees currently in Meadow Lake, 6 degrees in Prince Albert, 5 for Melfort, 8 in both North Battleford and Saskatoon. As we take a look at more in-depth to our regional temperatures, -4 overnight in North Battleford with mostly cloudy skies, warming up to 9 degrees tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a bit of cloud coverage there. Colt Lake overnight -2 degrees with mostly cloud coverage, 10 degrees tomorrow, the daytime high there with a few clouds and mostly sunshine there. For us here in Lloydminster, -3 overnight with 10 degrees, warming up to tomorrow and mostly sunny, with some cloud coverage. And take a look at the next 3 days. It's going to be some rain looking like all weekend. 40% chance of rain on Saturday and a 55% chance of rain on Sunday with mostly cloudy. We'll have a little bit more sun on Saturday than we will see on Sunday. That's a first look at your weather. We'll have more primetime local news coming up.
Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. Well, today we start a new weekly feature spotlighting local businesses in and around Lloydminster. I take a look at a family-run salon that has become a staple in the community.
Vivid Salon Spa and Wellness is the definition of a family-run business, with 3 sisters on the front line doing hands-on services in the salon and the rest of the family taking on other positions within the company. No one in the family is left out.
Before, when we were smaller, we were like missing those parts. So now that everybody's involved, everybody has their own roles.
Working with family has its own unique set of challenges, but the family has found ways to work past that.
Mostly we have a good time and spend time with our family here and outside of work. And so for us, we've had to really learn to leave work at work and leave playtime at the lake or on a trip.
The family wanted to create an atmosphere down to the last detail where it feels like the clients are at home. Family artwork created by their mom hang in the salon, and they take pride at bringing the family feeling to work.
We get to work with our best friends every day, and we've grown together and we've evolved together, and it's been awesome. And I think we're closer today as business partners, as family, as everything. We're closer today than we've ever been.
Vivid Salon Spa and Wellness offers a variety of services, and to learn more, visit their website, vividlloydminster.com. That's it for this week's BioClean Business Profile.
Business Bio, brought to you by BioClean. Call the Bio Team, 1-833-246-8326. The Disaster Specialists.
And there's lots going on here in the border city this week, and Heather Klages has the details in what's happening.
The BioClean Aquatic Center is going to be a busy place this weekend as the Border City Stingrays Synchronized Swim Club celebrates their 30th anniversary. You've got an opportunity to check out their annual water show coming up on Saturday afternoon. That'll get underway at 3 o'clock. And then on Sunday here at the BioClean Aquatic Center, there's going to be an opportunity for you to try out Synchro. If you'd like to get more details, you can email bcssynchro@gmail.com. The snow and ice are starting to melt away. That means spring is here, and that means it's time for the 35th annual Maidstone Trade Fair and Maidstone Museum Silent Auction. It's on Saturday and Sunday at the arena in Maidstone. Check out all the different vendors. Check out all the great live entertainment they've got lined up, plus the silent auction, which is in support of the Maidstone Museum. Admission $3 per day or $5 for the weekend, and proceeds from the show are going to go to the Legion in Maidstone. This week, we've got a copy of Alessia Cara's brand new album for you to win. She took home the Grammy Award for Best New Artist, and you can be listening to her latest music, including the hits Growing Pains, Trust My Lonely, and Out of Love. If you want to win a copy, it's really easy. All you have to do is email your name and daytime phone number to tvcontests@newcap.ca. We want to say thanks to John at Universal Music Canada for setting us up with the music. And coming up on Saturday, Lloydminster Girl Guides will be hosting their annual Strawberry Tea and Bake Sale. Things get underway at 2 o'clock at St. John's Anglican Church Hall. Tickets will be available at the door. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
And now we'll take a look at your stock market prices for today.
We restore more than just property. We restore hope. When disaster strikes, call the one that can make it right. First General Services, your property restoration experts.
Welcome back. Well, preserving the legacy is the best case scenario, and in this week's Ag Report, Gerard Lampow gets another look at handing on the family farm.
What are the parents' retirement needs? The definition for transition planning is considering the labor, the management, and control of the organization to the next generation.
Deanna Amos with Credential Securities says it's more than tax planning and corporate restructuring. She says look at the financial components like retirement spending.
When is that potential exit date? And then we also talk about the financial planning considerations for the next generation. So how much debt can they afford? What expenses do they have? And how much do they need to pull from the farm for their finances?
Amos says visit your lending agency and look at your debt to see what you can afford.
We know that most farm families can't afford to give away the land, and we know that that next generation is going to have to pay something for it. So it's important to know what those numbers are. How much can they afford given the other debts that they have in place?
Then there's having to deal with the distribution of assets among siblings.
Communication is key amongst the family members. So if we know what the ideas are for that farm transition right from the get-go, there's no surprises, and there's less chance for family conflict when the family can have open discussion as far as what those transition plans are going to be.
Amos runs through the checklist. Determine your retirement income. Decide if the farm is staying in the family. Communicate the plan to the family and have a plan to deal with family members who are unhappy with the transition.
Having off-farm wealth, off-farm assets that you could perhaps equalize them with, so financial assets. We often see insurance used for equalization benefits as well. But at the end of the day, having that open conversation with all family members so they understand the why behind the decisions.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
And that's your Ag News. Sports is next, but first we'll take a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Taking a look at your local sports now, the Lakeland Rustlers Awards are set for this evening, honoring a number of achievements for the school's ACAC accomplishments this season. One of the highlights was the women's basketball team winning bronze for the program's first ever conference medal. With most of the rotation intact for next year, Josh Ryan explains how the squad expects to finish with a different color around their neck in 2020.
Watching Olds College win a national title, the same team that ended their championship hopes in March, was frustrating yet motivating for Chris King and the Rustlers women's basketball team.
To know that we're that close to in a national championship conversation, it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's sports. So nice thing is the majority of this team's back, and hopefully we can build on that and have a shot to be at the national championships next year.
All-star Caitlin Tanita and veteran Meg Faraz are gone, but that still leaves most of the rotation and minute leaders, including several fourth-year players.
When you get a core group of players returning, you can't match experience.
The key to success for this group will once again come from depth, as Tori Dugan, Angela Barron, and Bilge Topologlu are just a few of the players who can step up on any given night.
It could be a Bilge being the best player on the floor. It could be Tori, it could be Ange. I think that's the nice thing about our team. When we went to provincials, teams had a lot of tough matchups because we had so many girls that could score.
Getting past the semifinal, however, a goal that's eluded them 4 of the last 5 seasons, will require the group to execute more consistently.
All depends on our off-season work and the progression of some of our new rookies coming in, right? They'll have to fill some bigger roles at times, and I think they're capable of that.
King believes the slow start combined with playoff experience this season should provide enough motivation.
We weren't in great game shape till November. These girls are older and they know how close they were. So really, if they want to be there next year, they got to put in the work. It's going to take a good group of leaders to continue to push in the off-season.
And finally, winning some hardware is an extra boost of confidence.
Yeah, we came up short of our goal, but look, getting the first medal in women's basketball history here at Lakeland is a pretty big thing. So yeah, we hope to take steps forward from that.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
And 3 Lloydminster football players will compete for Football Alberta's U18 provincial team at the Football Canada Cup this July. Quarterback Anton Amundrud, running back Matthew Morin for the Lloyd Comp Barons, and offensive lineman Clay Vetter for the Holy Rosary Raiders will make their trip to Kingston, Ontario, after being chosen from nearly 400 athletes who attended Super Weekend in January. Amundrud was on last year's squad, which lost to Saskatchewan in the final. And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
Well, we're here at Umami Cuisine and joined now by Messiah, who made this beautiful Thanos poutine as a part of Poutine Week with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So let's talk about the poutine, Thanos poutine. So what was kind of the thought process behind that?
Well, it's because it's our 7th poutine, and Thanos is kind of looking for the 7th stone, right? And I like Marvel, I like Thanos, I like Avengers, and so that's why we name it Thanos Poutine.
And so what is comprised in this poutine?
It has green peppers, mushrooms, onions, they're all sauté. It has steak, it has bacon, some garlic sauce, some secret sauce that we have, deep fried onions as well.
So a little bit of everything. So you kind of hit every kind of taste bud there too.
Yes.
I want to talk about just the importance for you being able to be a part of Poutine Week in association with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. What does it mean for you, and just being able to be a part of something so big in this community?
Well, I always want to help people, and Big Brothers and Big Sisters, I think that's a good step towards that. And I just love doing poutines. I love doing poutines, and I love helping other people as well. And so it's a good opportunity, and it's awesome. I like to be a part of it.
Now we're running a little bit out of time here, but I do want to talk about just the process of coming up with this and kind of the partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
It's really good to be partners with them, and because I know that they're gonna help the kids and doing the mentoring and stuff, and so it's good. I like it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We'll have a little bit more coming up throughout Poutine Week here for tonight's show, and I'm going to dig into this Donair Poutine, or not Donair Poutine, the Thanos Poutine. Yeah. He wouldn't be happy if I said that, yeah, I'm sure.
Well, we also have Donair Poutine, but... Yeah.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from Poutine Week, but for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Take a look at this gorgeous photo of all the geese flying high out gorgeously in the sky. Thanks to our viewers that send that in. If you have photos that you want to send and showcase here on Primetime Local News during the weather segment, send them to tvnews@stingray.com or through Facebook at Primetime Local News. Take a look at some current temperatures. Once again, 7 degrees for us currently right now here in Lloydminster, 7 also out in Marwayne, 8 degrees in St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Pierceland, 8 degrees also out in Provost and Macklin. Wainwright sitting at 9 degrees, Vegreville at 10, 7 degrees in Edmonton, 11 degrees out in Lac La Biche, 6 degrees out in Maidstone, 8 for North Battleford and Meadow Lake, 7 degrees in Green Lake, 9 for Isle La Crosse. La Loche and Buffalo Narrows both sitting at 9 degrees here, 7 degrees out in La Ronge and South End. Wollaston Lake sitting at 4, Stony Rapids and Flin Flon both sitting at 5 degrees. Grand Prairie sitting at 7 with Slave Lake sitting at 8. Peace River sitting at 9, Fort McMurray and High Level both sitting at 14 degrees, and Fort Chipewyan sitting at 9 degrees as well. Take a look in southern Alberta, 8 degrees currently right now in Lethbridge, 10 degrees currently in Medicine Hat, 1 degree currently right now for Calgary and Banff, 8 degrees in Coronation and Kindersley. Out in some other parts of southern Saskatchewan, 5 degrees right now for Swift Current, 7 in Moose Jaw and 6 in Regina, and 5s also out in Yorkton and Estevez. We take a look at some temperatures for tomorrow. 10 degrees across the board for many areas in our region. 10 degrees for us here in Lloydminster, as well as in Vermilion, Wainwright, Provost, Macklin, Cold Lake, Bonnyville, St. Paul, and Marwayne, Meadow Lake as well. In Isle La Crosse also sitting at 10 degrees. 10 also out in Edmonton, 12 for Vegreville, 11 out in Lac La Biche, Pierceland sitting at 11, 9 degrees currently for Maidstone and North Battleford, 8 degrees for St. Walburg. We take a look at your school day forecast for tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit cooler, -1 to start off the day with a low there. Mostly sunny though throughout the daytime tomorrow, 8 with 3 degrees warming up at recess time there and 6 degrees at lunchtime, and then it'll warm to 9 degrees at home time with mostly sunny skies and a bit of cloud coverage. This is the weekend where it's going to be more so cloudy and rainy. 13 degrees on Saturday with a 40% chance we'll get some precipitation. 12 degrees on Sunday with a 55% chance we'll get some rain there. 10 degrees on Monday with a 57% chance of a rain-snow mix. 9 degrees on Tuesday with mostly cloudy skies. 13s on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday we'll see more sun than cloud, and 13 degrees on Thursday where we'll see the majority of it being cloud coverage. We're right around for the averages for this time of year, as well as for our highs and lows. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who was on location earlier today.
Well, now we've made our way to the exhibition grill as we are talking to James Armstrong as you made this beautiful dish of dry rib poutine. So how did all this kind of come together, and what was it like making something like this?
Well, it was pretty cool. We always have the salt and pepper fries. People always really enjoy those. We make our own dry ribs. We cut them, marinate them overnight, and then bread them the next day. So we just thought that we would try the two together, and we had it for lunch one day, and everybody seemed to enjoy it, so that's how we came up with the idea.
Now, this is something that you guys are kind of partnered with for Big Brothers Big Sisters for their Poutine Week that goes until the 18th. So what has it been like just partnering with them, and kind of the importance that this has for not only you guys but the community as well?
It's been really great, actually. Today was our first day for it. We had a very nice turnout for it for lunch today, and it's always nice to work with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters on their different events that they have, and to try something new. It's awesome.
And for you, just let's talk about the process of everything, just being able to meet up with them and the creation of this, and has it been hectic or?
No, not at all. We, had a meeting there a couple of weeks ago, and we tried a couple of different poutines, and, just kind of took it from there and, got on board with them. And I think it's going to be a great experience for everybody involved. So we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to dig into this wonderful poutine as well. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at the Lloyd X, and more from Poutine Week as well, as I'm about to dig into this beautiful dish. But for now, let's head back into the studio.
All right, so our question of the day today: what kind of language would you like to speak? There's a lot of people weighed in on this. Sign language.
That's a cool one.
Another one.
And it's very unique. It's different.
It
Not
is,
many
yeah.
people know it, so
No,
that's cool.
it's not. And French, given that we are bilingual in
That makes
Ottawa
sense.
Ottawa and in Montreal.
Yep.
Spanish is another common one. A lot of people in high schools take that.
Yeah,
as well.
lots of people take Spanish in school. That's true. French and Spanish are probably the most common ones offered here in Canada in school, for sure.
And of course, Canada's a big Ukrainian population as well, so there's a lot of people that speak Ukrainian. That'd be a cool language to learn as well. And as well as, for me, because, I'm half Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, all that kind of stuff as well. I mean, I would like to learn. Everyone always asks me.
It'd be a steep learning curve with the different writing and everything too, along with it.
It's hard to learn as you're older, though.
Yes, that's very true.
That's what I learned the hard way.
Yeah, that's why anytime that you want to learn a language, if you can start kids off young, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, my parents definitely did not. They dropped the ball on that one a little bit. Well, it's time to take a look at some pets because it's National Pet Day here today in the world here. So this is Charlie.
Charlie's
there by
stretched
Tammy.
out and lounging.
Very adorable. Next up, we have Stella.
Aw,
Very
I love
cute.
this photo.
Very cute. The front crossing paws.
Yeah,
and everything.
exactly.
This is Huck. Very cute close-up of him. Next, we have Otis.
Oh, that's
love the
such
hat.
a great photo.
Yeah, indeed. And last but not least, this is Finn.
Aw,
very,
Finn's
very
so cute.
Very
oh,
adorable.
that face.
Indeed. Well, if your pet was shown on today, you're automatically entered to win a Lloydminster Pet Pad gift card, which we're giving away tomorrow.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Well, the election less than a week away, and welcome back to another edition of our candidates profiles for Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and St. Paul. Today, I'm joined with NDP candidate Carrie Won. How's it going?
It's going great, thank you.
So why are you running, Carrie?
I'm running because I could see all the great work that Rachel Notley's done in the past 4 years, and I want to be a part of that.
So you're running for the NDP. Why did you pick the NDP?
The NDP's values and the work they've done align with my values, and I can see that they're going to do some great things in the future, and so I want to be a part of that.
What are those values?
So we have an honest, reliable, pragmatic leader who is pushing this province forward. And even when she inherited a bad economy and oil prices were low, she's still pushing, and getting Alberta back to where it needs to be.
You're a teacher at Cold Lake Elementary, right? Or?
Cold Lake Elementary.
And how many years have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for 18 years. I've been teaching. Mm-hmm.
So you've seen the education system many times. What do you think, how can it do better, or how do you think it's going?
I think that with funding enrollment next year and the modernized curriculum, the old curriculum was over 30 years old in some parts, so the modernized curriculum and GSAs, I think all of those things are contributing to our great education system.
What do you think could be better?
I think that we need to continue funding, we need to continue supporting students, and we need to continue developing curriculum as things change for our students.
Touched on GSAs. You guys put the protections in place for the parents so that you're not outing kids. The UCP said that they would repeal that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a really backwards thought. I want to make sure that my students are safe and supported, and I think that's the way forward. I agree totally with the GSAs and the security they bring to students.
What are you hearing at the doors, Carrie?
I'm hearing about how great the $25 a day cap on daycare is for Albertans and for people in this area. They no longer will have to choose between going back to work or having their child in childcare, as the costs will be more affordable and they'll put more money back in their pockets.
How's the $25 a day childcare, how's that going to look?
So there will be so many spots across the province, and parents will have the option of putting their children in those childcare facilities. So it's really going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of parents.
Carrie, what are you hearing about health care around the region?
Well, people are excited that we're going to continue to fund healthcare, and with the new long-term care beds and and prescription medication for seniors who make under $75,000 a year. Those are a lot of supports that are needed and going to do a lot for families in this area.
And Carrie, why should people vote for you on April 16th?
Well, I think there's a clear choice to be made. It's going to be between a party who supports the Albertans and supports people in this community and is going to fund public services while working on the debt, or we're going to have freezes and cuts. So I think it's a clear choice.
NDP candidate Carrie Wan, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that is Carrie Wan joining me today. The election on April 16th. Don't forget to vote. For Primetime Local News, I'm Justin Marshall.
Furniture supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I am joined with Michelle Hamilton, a registered psychologist at Beyond Balanced here in Lloydminster, and it's always a pleasure to have you in because we learn something new every day. So today our topic is communication, and not only just communication, but you mentioned assertive communication. So do you want to kind of just explain what that difference is, just between communication in general?
Okay. Well, I mean, I just think of assertive communication as when, you know, a person is really intentionally trying to express themselves in the context of a relationship, right? Where they are trying their best to address their own feelings and quite possibly their own needs. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And so with assertive communication, how do we kind of get our message across in a positive way instead of maybe, in my mind, I see assertive communication as almost something like as a negative, and you don't want to get to the point of where maybe you're getting into that kind of push and pull fight situation. So how do you kind of make sure that you get your thoughts across in a positive way?
Well, a lot of people fear assertive communication because it feels a bit like conflict.
Yes.
And many people are very avoidant or stressed by conflict. And so unfortunately, you know, a lot of times communication gets put aside. But assertive communication is not the same as being aggressive or confronting or attacking another person. You'd want to choose your words carefully. You want to think about what you need to say. And you want to stay really focused on the frame of coming from the I. You know, we call that simply an I message. You know, to learn how to express your concern from the listen, I've noticed and I feel and I really hope that. As opposed to coming across in a confrontational way where you might say, you know, listen, you always, you never. So the framing of the communication is a simple and important way to make sure you're on the right track there.
Absolutely.
Keep it focused on the I.
Yeah, so instead of pointing the finger, which tends to normally, I know if someone's pointing the finger, most people just kind of shut down.
You get defensive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So if you focus more on yourself, then you find there's benefits of you end up getting kind of further in what you're hoping to achieve.
I think so, yeah. And I think it's also important to make sure that the person is aware that you have something important to talk about, you know, so that they're focused, hopefully, and that they're able to kind of like be intentional also about listening. So I think setting the stage for communication is also a really important thing to do.
For sure. And I know just on relationships in itself, is assertive communication something that is important maybe in the workplace as well?
Oh, definitely.
Building relationships with people, your coworkers, your boss, and things like that. What does it look a little differently than what it would look like in maybe a relationship, a personal relationship, than it is in like a workplace situation?
I suppose that, you know, there would be differences, personal communication and versus work-related communication, but I think the gist of the idea is still the same, you know, to be prepared to address your concerns, to be prepared to express your feelings and also to ask for what you need, and then likewise to listen and carefully and hopefully allow the other person to likewise express themselves, and in hopes that the communication supports improving the relationship.
Absolutely. Just real quickly, one last thing, just a question for you. For someone who maybe is more of an introverted person who doesn't like to talk about their feelings, things like that, what would be your first suggestion to kind of maybe step out of that box and make sure that their voices are heard? What is that kind of like first step to take?
I think just, you know, as I said about setting the stage, I would just encourage the idea that someone says, listen, there's some things I want to talk about. You know, and planning ahead maybe more intentionally about what are the key points, the feelings or the changes that you're asking for, you know, so that you can feel a little more well prepared, because it may be very stressful for many people to communicate in relationship.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
You're
in, Michelle.
welcome.
Full of knowledge and full of tips. I love it. So thank you so much for coming in. If you want to get more information, Beyond Balance is where you go to speak to Michelle personally.
Thanks,
so
Elise.
thanks so much for coming in. Thanks.
Well, we're finishing our tour around town, looking at all the different participating locations of the Big Brothers Big Sisters Poutine Week, and we finished off here at the Lloydminster Exhibition Grounds at the Exhibition Grill. And as you can see down by us as well, there is the dry rib poutine, as we tried as well, which was delicious. As mentioned, $3 of every purchase from the poutines from the participating locations will go to Big Brothers Big Sisters and really show just the diverse cuisine that we have in our town as well. That'll do it for me here all around town for Poutine Week, and as mentioned, all $3 will go to the Big Brothers Big Sisters. But let's head back into the studio where Connor and Elise will wrap up the rest of tonight's show.
All right, thanks very much, Brett. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast one last time. 10 degrees on Friday, 13 degrees on Saturday with a 40% chance of some rain there. 55% chance of rain on Sunday with cloudy skies, the high of 12. Lows of 2s on Sunday and Monday with a high of 10, though, with a 57% chance of a rain-snow mix. 9 degrees on Tuesday with mostly cloudy skies. -1 is the low there. -1 also the low on Wednesday. High of 13 with mostly sunny skies and a few clouds. And then 13 also on Thursday with mostly cloudy skies and maybe some sun. But, you know,
That's okay.
It's what it is.
Yeah, it's spring. That's what we expect, right? I'm not worried about it. I don't mind. Maybe the rain will even hold off a little bit on the weekend.
It was supposed to. I mean, it was supposed to rain on this past Monday, and it hasn't. So.
And it didn't. So you never know, right? Springtime showers is always
Calgary
all over
currently
the
is
place.
getting snow right now.
Yeah, exactly. We could have snow. So
not
let's
like
not
that,
even
not like
say
heavy
that.
stuff,
Yeah.
but not that heavy, but just
yeah, it's still better than that, though.
exactly.
You know? There you go.
Exactly. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a great
good
night.
night.